From the Dusk Till Dawn Casino in Nottingham, Season 5 of the Party Poker Big Game is 20 hours in, and it's been the daddy of all cash games so far.
What are you guys doing here?
Shut up!
I'm so not D-list. I'm C- perhaps.
Oh, would you stop it, Miss Tilly?
If I was A-list, I'd be in Cannes premiering my latest film instead of here with all you degenerates.
Too many levels on this stupid game.
If you can't spot the sucker, I didn't see Tony.
Just want to show to the home viewer anyone can do it.
Trying to weasel you in, isn't it?
If you tell me it's mine, I'm gonna take it.
Yay! Oh, drunk people cheering for me.
Give her the rest of the money.
That's a nice little rush. Won about 50k since you sat down.
You the man, you the man, you the man. You don't want to keep rolling around. You don't want to chip in.
Around. I've chipped in. I've met all the criteria.
It's qualified.
I've qualified.
What is this qualified? The main thing is to bring a lot of cash. When you come to my game, bring a big bag.
I'm crazy.
I'm not allowed to say anything because Viffer just shouts over me. It's malicious, but it's like part of the game.
I just hate this cash game so much.
Not only is there big money on the line, but we've seen egos crushed and reputations trampled over as our players have faced up to eviction.
Unique to the big game is the eviction process. This season, there's two ways for our players to be voted out of the game. Eviction will alternate between an online audience deciding on who they would like to boot out of the game.
Well, I think the viewers like me.
And the players themselves will vote secretly for the player they would like to leave the table.
Can you vote for the dealer?
The only way to avoid eviction is to gain immunity by being the most active player at the table.
So brutal.
I'm shocked.
Thank you.
So far, we've had 4 evictions.
I can tell you the player that is being evicted from the table right now, Bruno Fatoussi. The player who will be leaving with the most votes by the viewers is the Devilfish.
Thank God for that. Good night. I'm off to the hotel.
The player voted off the big game table by the fans is Neil Channing.
Well, I thought it was an A. I misread the lip.
Players, if you'd like to write down the name of the player you'd like to be evicted,
And is it 2 ends or?
I don't want to go.
and the player that's now evicted from the table is Annette Overstrap.
I'll be back.
Coming up on halfway through this big game 5, and have a look at the biggest winners so far. Tony G took away a suitcase full of cash with promises to return. Tilly doing well. She's been here since the start. Mark Kohler, only qualifier so far to have left in profit. Schwartz and Ben Carpenter, still stories to be told. Sam Trickett on the other side, looking at the losers. He's been in ice water waist deep since the beginning. Torelli slipping down. Oberstadt, Channing, and plenty of qualifiers have made deposits. Ben Carpenter might be slightly feeling the nerves because for a guy who, when he's off the televised table, pretty much has a constant mouth going, he hasn't said a word yet.
Maybe he's a little nervous.
Fair enough.
No, it's not that. I don't mind you calling the clock on me. I didn't want to trap myself into like.
Sam Trickett. He folded the last one. He's got involved in this one. Oh, there we are.
Wow.
Sam's opened to 200 with the ace 4. I think Jennifer's actually looked at her hand, yeah.
Has she picked up the aces like 5 or 6 times tonight?
Yeah, and I don't think she's actually looked at it yet. She's busy talking about whether Viffer should be using his mobile phone at the table. And now it's 200 to her. And I think she's decided to just call, hasn't she? Yeah, and this is going to be interesting because Andrew Feldman has picked up a pair of 9s in a very standard squeeze spot here. It's an under-the-gun race from a very active player in Sam Trickett, and a call from a player who Andrew Feldman will fancy taking on in Jennifer Tilly. And with a pair of 9s, it's not like he's squeezing with nothing. He's got a bit of a hand.
Yeah, I mean, Tilly was doing all the squeezing from here. Torelli was.
Yeah, and Feldman's got the button. He's perfectly entitled to think that his pair of 9s could easily be good here. And even if they aren't, he might make a hand like ace queen or ace jack laid down. I think it's quite a reasonable play. Jennifer Tilly's going to re-raise. I think she's not going to mess around. She's made it 3,000 in total. So Feldman's got a decision now. He's only sat down. Oh, well, he sat down with the maximum. Actually, 20. I was going to say he only sat down with 20. Obviously, Jennifer Tilly's been here a while now, so she's got 45,000. I'll tell you one, pretty hard for him to flat call here. Obviously, you can't set mine well, he's chosen to, but you can't really set mine here. I mean, it is slightly ridiculous because you're getting nowhere near the price. But basically, if he gets all his money in and doubles up 100% of the time that he hits the set, even then he's only just getting the right price to hit a set. And obviously, a lot of the times, Jennifer Tilly won't really have a hand, and he won't fully double up when he hits the set.
Just going to say, Neil, that if Feldman hasn't been watching the game, he's much better served, because if he has actually been watching and saw what she did to Torelli, you know, not an identical situation, but not far off, then he's putting her on a really wide range here.
Well, he's got to wonder, why did Jennifer Tilly decide to check this flop?
Why did she decide to check this flop?
Well, maybe she's thinking, what kind of hands would he have called me with here? Probably a pair, middle pair. I mean, that is really the only kind of hand you can put him on, is kind of 9s, 10s, jacks. It's hard to really put him on ace-king. I mean, I think with 20 grand, if somebody pops it up 3, you make a bold decision one way or the other, don't you, with ace-king? You don't flat call in position. So I don't think Jennifer puts him on ace-king. It's hard to put him on 2 queens, really. I think he would have got the money in pre-flop.
This is fraught with danger. I mean, obviously, Feldman's trusting himself to reevaluate the river.
Well, this is, you know, if you thought you were good on the turn, the 6 hasn't really changed anything. You've got to think you might be good on the river. But, of course, what's going to happen, there's new information is going to come in. Oh, Jennifer's checked there. I think she's missed value there for sure. I'm not just saying that because I can see her hand. But, I mean, I think it's almost impossible to give Andrew Feldman a hand like ace-king there. I guess if you were worried about a king in any way, maybe king-queen suited would be a possibility. But I think that's you know, just one hand, and putting him on a range of things, I think I'd have had to bet that river there, I think.
Especially when he's checking.
She's really, well, she's really under-repped her hand there. She was nervous about betting the flop, and then she decided, well, maybe I am good and bet the turn. She played it in the way that somebody might play a hand like, you know, 2 jacks or 2 10s. And then I think, given that she played it that way, it's possible she could have had a hand like ace-queen there. I think she has to bet the river, and I think she missed a bet of, you know, 5,500 or something like that. That's money left out on the table. Anyway, Sam now facing the Wolfe button raise out of the blind, and we've seen Sam doing a lot of stuff out of the blinds.
Yeah,
and 1700.
Like, this won't be lost on the Wolfe that.
Yeah, Roland notices stuff.
You about to get owned again, Roland?
Yeah, probably.
At the end of the day, Roland's the man with the king 3, and do you really want to be putting 1700 in? Of course you do. Of course you do, Roland. Because you can make a flush, you got like the top end straight and the bottom end covered.
The only way I could see my cards is if I pull them all the way back,
for a fisherman,
and then the other players could see them. And it's blinding my light.
And Sam will know that Roland can't possibly have hit this flop.
If you don't want to listen to violins on TV, turn your set down now.
You want to do? I forgot it.
Well, Roland's going for a float.
Card.
He's representing a 10, a big over pair, a whole bunch of things. I must be able to get him off of some of this. And having decided that, this is not a great turn card for Roland de Wolfe. He might have benefited from an ace, or even better, a king. But a queen is not going to help him very much. When you do float, you've got to follow it through. You're praying for a big card to come, so you can bluff the guy. Sam's allowing him to bluff him, and Roland's going to try for a bluff, I think, with 8,000 in the pot. Here he goes, just betting 3. He's trying to make it look like he's desperate for a call. And Sam's going to think and think, and oh, I can't decide what to do. What are we going to do? Oh no, you've
It's kind of hard to watch.
Roland's got 12 grand left. So if Sam calls, which obviously that's at least what he's going to do, there'll be 14 in there, and Roland could now go all in quite reasonably on the river. And he's definitely got the heart and commitment to do that. So obviously what Sam should do is call and let Roland crack away and do the rest of his money.
Too bad.
Yeah, and yeah, that card doesn't really change anything. So it's just a question of whether Roland fancies giving it one last shot.
And every time I pull
I think he might actually, to be honest. I heard someone talk about the football then, and Roland's been thinking about that. He might just say, do you know what? I don't fancy this game so much anymore. I'm going to give it my shot to buff him. If it doesn't work out, I'm going to quit, get some sleep, come back later.
Don't do it, Roland. Don't do it, Roland. He managed to save the 10 grand.
Did you get home? Yeah, Roland? Yeah, he got home.
And Luke there, yeah, in the three-way conversations between these three, Luke will generally side with Sam and have a little dig at Roland. It is friendly banter, but if he's needling one of them, it'll be Roland, not Sam.
Sam Trickett right now losing 17,000 for him, not that far from even. He's been losing over twice that much at stages of the game.
48 hours with some of poker's biggest faces. We're back for more of the big game after the break. Welcome back to the Party Poker Big Game. We're playing for 48 hours straight, and some of the best poker players from around the world will be putting their bankrolls and their reputations on the line. Let's head back to the table.
20 hours in, and Jennifer Tilley up really more than the rest of the table. But in a table like this, she could get everybody even. That's what the two biggest losers there are thinking. The Wolfe and Trickett.
What is that, sorry? 250 and fold.
No, what you need to do is sit forward. When you sit forward, you don't see the light from there.
Fold.
Tilley's happy to just wait for a hand right now. Here we go.
Fold.
15. Yeah.
How do you think this one's going to play then, Jesse? The man with two jacks is going to run away?
Well, being that Torelli's 16,000 deep.
15.5, 16.
Is Schwartz,
16 including that.
Is he happy to get it all in right now for 16 grand? I don't think so.
It's quite a lot of money to get in pre-flop with just two jacks. I think on the occasions that you get called, you probably find you just walked into two queens, two kings, or two aces. So for that reason, proceed to the flop. And this is a horrible flop for Alec Torelli. He thinks it's a good flop, and he thinks he's just got lucky. And he's going to do some money here, I think.
I'll tell you what, there's somehow the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker is over in seat number 1 with a flush draw.
Yeah.
Where did the candlestick maker come from?
Well, don't forget, Mr. Wolfe in seat 1 has only got 11,000 left. There's already 3 grand in the pot. It's going to be well, it might be more than 2 grand in because Luke Schwartz could easily raise. If Luke decides to flat call somehow, which I don't think he's going to, but if he does, Roland will almost certainly go all in. I think Luke's going to raise though. He's going to make it somewhere like 5,600, maybe a slightly less than that, maybe 4,900. Oh, he's flat called. Well, Roland will go all in. Surely he must go all in now.
And I guess Luke has done this to give himself an option in case Roland sticks his stack in, or is he just...
No, Luke's going to put his money in. I think he wants Alec Torelli to hang himself.
Right.
He was calling, thinking Roland's never really got anything. I'll let him disappear. And then Torelli will bet a full pot bet on the turn, and I'll set him in.
How'd the candlestick maker get involved?
Well, I'm surprised Roland's taking a long time. I guess he thinks if he instantly shoves, it looks too much like a flush draw. If he messes around for a bit and makes it look like it's a really difficult decision, it doesn't look quite so much like a flush draw. I think that's what he's thinking. Alec Torelli's going, oh my God, I might have to call this because I've got top pair, and that Luke Schwartz has got nothing. There's no way that Luke Schwartz is folding this hand. Okay. This is he's played jacks in a deceptive way to catch Alec Torelli, and the flops come down 10 high. And there's draws on. There's a straight draw and a flush draw. you know, Luke's played it like this so that Alec Torelli might do something a bit mental with a hand that's not as good as 2 jacks, and that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen. The body language shows he's worried about Luke behind him. He's thinking that Roland, like originally I think he was thinking Roland could have anything. Roland could be on a draw and doing this quite easily. I could beat the draws. But at the end of the day, he's not a massive favourite over these draws. Like, he's not a massive favourite over Roland right now. In fact, Roland's favourite over him. So, you know.
Right, and that's the best case scenario. If Roland's got a 10, he's out to lunch.
Well, obviously Roland could have 6-7 as well, that kind of hand.
But this late
3-6, you know, Roland's wide open, but I think the main problem for Alex is that Luke's behind. Anyway, Luke's going to call, not exactly too difficult. And there's all kinds of bluffing. First of all, Luke said, yeah, I know you've got 4-5 is good. Then Roland said, no, I haven't got 4-5, I've got ace-10. And Luke went, yeah, I've got jacks. And then Roland went, well, actually, I haven't really got ace-10, I've got a flush draw. And Luke says, yes, I knew you did. So everybody knew exactly what was going on, of course. And
that's a little cruel on the river.
The unnecessary set on the river. Roland already made the flush. Keeps Roland in the game, doubles him up. Poor old Luke, not done a great deal wrong. He's back down a snake again. Every time he gets up a small ladder, he seems to find a medium-sized snake to go straight back down again. For Roland, yeah, I mean, he's got to be quite happy, really, hasn't he? Look, he's winning.
If I go on, yeah, fold.
Schwartz topping up for an extra $5 grand. This big game is now sports. And Tony G hanging around with his 50K profit.
Yeah, he's the biggest owners in the league. Best in the league, isn't he? 100, yeah?
Wow, I'll tell you what, the crew looked motley about 7 hours ago. Right now, they just look... I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to take these guys out for a walk. You feel like you need them. I don't know.
Did you mean to put the 1,000 in?
You took these guys out for a walk. You need some handlers. Viffer's got the aces this time. This is amazing. Quite amazing. And, you know, Tilly sort of limped in for 100 from the button, and Viffer did one of his things where he just makes the really big raise, which is quite gutsy with the aces, to make a raise from 100 up to 1,200. You know, and he's just got completely on here.
Check.
Feldman wishing he'd called.
What's all that
And I think he's going to get Jen for a couple of bets right now.
Yeah, and Feldman would have flopped trips and turned a full house. And I expect he'll be telling us about that in a second.
But, you know, it is something about Viffer. I mean, he gambles in some ways with these weird lines on hands, and when it works, it works.
Thank you so much. He's supposed to be knighted.
Yeah, suddenly he's in a 10 grand pot, and yeah, it's going to work out quite well with him. Jennifer, I think a few chips bleed away there, and I wonder whether she might be starting to feel the pinch a little bit, feeling a bit tired.
Well, Viffer can do a lap around the room. He must have never thought he'd get here. He's even.
She was to lose
He's up.
5 or 6 grand.
Golf's the best.
The venues of the big game have changed over the years. This most impressive place yet, Dusk Till Dawn, here in Nottingham. Modern card room. Same action though. Guys hunkered down over chips late at night.
750.
That's the spirit, Roland. Get it in there. So we had a straddle from Luke. And,
yeah, 200 straddle. Straddle, re-straddle.
Yeah, and Roland said, yeah, well, I've got a good hand. Let's put a raise in there.
For 1 year, you get to be Cristiano Ronaldo. That's pretty cool. I don't even like soccer. I
Viffer can hardly pass. And 3 ways. 3 blind mice.
I wonder what I'd done to it. I don't know. We like find out Anderson. He loves winning. Anderson. Absolutely. No, Man United, Anderson.
Wow.
Oh, this is a sick flop now.
Wow.
Luke Schwartz is really unlucky here.
Well, I think Luke Schwartz. No, I think it's Viffer.
Oh, I'm sorry, Viffer. I do apologise. Yeah, Luke Schwartz had the deuces. So Viffer, he's come 9-9.
Just like being, huh?
I just wonder whether Viffer is in the frame of mind where he can get away from this. Well, it doesn't look like it now. He's bet 7, and Roland goes all in now. It's going to be 21. So
Will he ever retire?
it can't really happen, can it? You can't really fold this one.
Him. Ronnie. Huh?
If you can't beat a full house, don't call.
The Wolf's going to be on a double up here. I mean, Viffer obviously got the 8s. This is a complete cooler.
That was full house?
Yeah.
No.
He's amazing.
But I'm going to get one.
Good things come to those who wait. Well, that's what the Wolf's thinking right now.
Might be fun to be Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's a massive shot.
Full house. You got one? That's nice. Cool.
Roland
Why do you
gets
take
in.
one?
Viffer calls.
I mean, you're already
full
on
house as
20,000,
Roland.
isn't it?
That's nice as Viffer.
The 9, the 6, or the
You
jack.
can only do it once here.
Most of the time it's going to be
I
going
mean, I'll do
over
it
to
twice,
Roland.
whatever,
It'll
but-
be a pretty bad beat if it doesn't. And
Well,
5 full? That's nice.
there you go.
How much is it?
and it just shows, I mean, you be as careful as you can, and you can't get away from this stuff, right? A cooler is ice cold. Like Viffer, he's really been snugging up lately and had really clawed back, and yet the 20,000 pounds go in Shrewsville to the candlestick maker. Roland DeWolf's. He's like on his way to being the big winner in this game. We're not even halfway done as this big game 5 ticks on. Back after the break.
Welcome back to the Party Poker Big Game 5. Eviction time is looming as one of our players will soon be heading out of the door. Let's head back to the table.
Pressure is mounting here. Hackles are rising.
Everyone agrees you can.
It's an
What?
audience eviction.
Oh, now we can.
The players left to be on their best behavior. Put their best face forward.
Whatever it is, it is. I
Only
don't
do you have to leave the game. You find out you are not loved by the public. Not even wanted.
But I'm sure some of them really.
Sometimes they stay behind.
And DeWolf now on a stack of 50 grand. And playing poker. I'll tell you one thing, and through no fault of his own, Neil, Viffer may change strategies. He may become a little more proactive and a little less reactive.
Oh yeah, I think he's got a. I mean, he's still sitting there with 45 grand in front of him. He is losing now, but he's got a decent stack where you know, he can stack a lot of the people on the table. He can easily. Roland's not going to switch off completely. He can still get a big pot with him. We haven't seen the end of Viffer in this game yet.
Cool.
But we're definitely going to see a gear change. And Schwartz barreled with the air, called by DeWolf with the top pair, and not exactly a kicker you want to write home about. And Luke, you know, his judgment has been quite good about when to turn it on and when to turn it off. What is he on here? And Roland pretty much knows, Neil, that you just can't be calling here and folding the river. So he may be already decided he's going to call the turn and call the river, and trying to make it look like, you know, this is a lot tougher decision than it is for him. Which, like, to be completely fair, he's not beaten that much right here, but he is way ahead. Schwartz is drawn dead. And Schwartz has basically got an all-in left. I mean, 15. There's 10 in there. Is he sick enough?
Well, I think we know he's sick enough, Jesse.
I kind of feel like he's going to have to go all in, don't you? Is there? I don't know. It's just like that's the kind of bets he's been making. No.
It's so strong, it's unbelievable. I thought.
He went back. Oh no!
Yeah. That's so. What a great player this. How much are you up anyway?
I'm losing, bro.
You're losing. You're losing with all that great plays of yours. That's unbelievable. I mean, that's just wow. All those fancy plays you have, and I might get away.
Sounds like there's an eviction brewing. Have a look at the stats. Jennifer Tilly, still the big winner. So much money on this table. Looks like over 200 grand. But let's hear who'll be going.
Sadly for one of our players, it's now time for another eviction, this time at the hands of our Poker News online viewers. They've taken a vote, and I believe we have the answers that we need. Okay, our players with the highest amount of votes are Luke Schwartz. And our second player in the bottom two is Viffer. So Luke and Viffer, you're in the bottom two right now. Luke has the highest V chip, therefore he's actually exempt from the vote. So sorry, Viffer, you have to leave.
No problem.
Slow rolled.
Yeah.
You thought I was on my bike.
I would have laid like 10 to 1 if it was staying.
Who wants 2,000 for Viffer to stay? We'll pay the table.
I don't mind. He's playing nitty anyway, man. Go ahead. On your bike, son.
Viffer to stay.
Pretend to leave, and then come back.
How could this be?
I don't care.
I would love
Viffer's been a big game mainstay forever.
All them barrels locked up were right in it. The 2+2s didn't want me in, did they?
So I'm here now with Viffer, who sadly has just been voted off the table, and he's been here from the very, very start. So it's been an epic journey.
It's been a long journey. I was gonna play the whole time, but I'm like pretty tired anyways, and like they were beating up on me, so it's probably a good thing that I get to go. I got a little bit of my money back. It's always fun to play here. They had a lot of great players, and sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
I don't know if the public has eyes nor ears, but I'll tell you one thing, there's 7 people at this table who are now looking at the door and are looking at very long faces all around, because 45,000 pounds plus more, which was considered in play, has just seen the exit.
1,400.
For a poker player,
Pass.
that's curtains.
So Roland's re-raised in this one.
And Torelli's flatted with the aces?
Yeah, and it's come ace high.
Wow.
3 clubs though. Roland doesn't have the deuce of clubs. He's got 2 red deuces. He's lucky he didn't come a deuce off there.
Wow, so...
See, that wouldn't be what I'm saying though, innit?
This is not going to end well for Roland. I wonder if there's some
1,700.
weird way he can win this pot with the club on the turn and the blank on the river.
Well, I guess Torelli must just call here. I mean, having played it this way, he might as well keep disguising his hand. I think if it had just come like a 9 high or something like that,
At this stage,
he would have raised it, but because it's come ace, he's got such a big hand. You know, you're either miles in front or miles behind with this one. The guy's either got a flush and you're miles behind, or you've got 3 aces and you're crushing every other hand.
But are you
can't
just
really get paid by any other hand, so you might as well just call.
Aren't you kind of hoping that maybe DeWolfe's got a big kind of club that he's willing to get it in with here? And
I don't think he is willing to get it in with a big club, though. What's he going to have? You know, he's going to have maybe a pocket pair, one of them being a club. Unless that pocket pair's kings, he's not going to get it in. So, you know, that's a pretty specific thing.
How are you doing now? What are you in for? 60? You got 40.
This game has been an amazing turn of events with Viffer off the table.
You was in a hole.
You know, for 7 hours, yeah? You didn't even think about one hand. Just sat there and
you didn't get a hand.
No, but I didn't even think about it when I got one.
I know, but you didn't. It was the same with me from like 6 in the morning to about 2.
I mean, DeWolfe obviously needs to make a decision to just wave the white flag, but there is 6,000 pounds in there, and he just doesn't look like he's in the mood to wave the white flag. Wave it, Roland. No, no wave. I mean,
4,500.
is it time for Torelli now to make the big raise? Just to prevent the club on the river situation.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cards he doesn't want to see. I guess he could easily raise now. I mean, the stack situation for him is he's only got about 12 grand, so he wants to get it in, basically. If he calls now, Roland probably will give up on his major bluffs. And it depends whether Roland's, well, you'll understand, Jesse, but it depends whether Roland's a range merger, doesn't it? Because Roland won't be betting the river too much unless he's really a new school poker player with a hand like maybe 2 9s or 2 7s or something like that. That's the kind of hand that Luke Schwartz or Sam Trickett could bet the river with, but Roland would check. So Torelli knows that, and his only chance to get any more money and get the rest of his money in the pot was to do it on the turn.
So was he a range merger?
Well, we never found out. There wasn't a river card, was there? Okay, fool.
We're back for more from the Party Poker big game as the clock counts up to 48 hours of play. Okay, so next up to tackle the bays and to fill seat 6, it's Robert Williamson III.
Nice moves. How are you?
RW3 from the box down to the table and 10,000 pounds. He has pledged that he will win the VPIP race at least one session. And I'm sure he intends to keep that. Robert Williamson III says this game's going out of the muck now that he's at the table. He's won every time he's played in the big game, Neil, and was the big winner a couple seasons ago. And you know this guy can shove the chips around.
Well, yeah, it's interesting to get Rob on the table because to me he has 2 completely different ways of playing. 1 or 2 times he's shown up and played on TV. He's been totally anonymous at the table, and basically he won loads of money last year basically by having kings a lot. And his specialised method of playing those was to let Viffer raise and then shove all in once a couple of people called Viffer's raise. Andrew Feldman with the kings probably wishing that they'd all concentrate on the game. Come on, play some hands.
He's got Luke and he's got Carpenter, 2 customades.
3 players.
And basically, I think that Luke's got a season ticket. Anytime Andrew wants to enter a pot, Luke's looking for an excuse to be in there, and I think 2 8s is a, you know, he's got to be there, hasn't he? I mean, I think 8-5 was probably enough for Luke. Oh, and he's hit the post, Luke. So it's a pretty decent flop for 2 8s, not so ways.
700.
And Luke will always be stabbing.
This hand may get the showdown quite often, right?
Yeah, Andrew's got 24 and Luke's got 18, so they're not going to get it all in unless Andrew raises here. we've seen in the past that if you raise on a paired board against Luke, he doesn't generally put you on the card that's duplicated there. I would suggest if Andrew wanted to build a big pot, that was his time to do it. He's probably not going to do it now. Luke's just checking. Andrew's probably going to make a bet. Guess probably about 1,700. Oh, he's checked as well. So he's just settling to get guaranteed value on the river. Luke's just check calling here, or possibly even leading and folding. Luke might decide to go for 2,000 himself and then fold for the raise. Andrew may not even raise, he may just call him.
It's going to be hard for Luke to, right at this stage, to think that he's... 200?
Well, Luke just bets 200, which is... He's been doing that when he, not really blocking, but when he wants to induce somebody to do a big bluff. But I think he's trying to really try ever so hard against Andrew Feldman to really stick one to him. He wants to show him, I bluffed you out of this pot for such a small amount of money. I managed to beat you, and I didn't even really need to bet very much to do it. Andrew must at least call. I'm sure he's thinking about whether to call or whether to raise. I'm sure folding's not in his mind. He's wondering, what does that 200 mean? Does that mean he wants me to raise him? And he does raise, he makes it 26. And Luke's just going to fold and say, I had nothing anyway. I was just bluffing you. He's annoyed because he doesn't like to lose pots to Andrew. These two are big rivals, and there's no love lost between these two.
Is it an easy fold? I mean, at the end of the day, does...
I can tell you that Luke, if you ask him, will say Andrew just doesn't have it in his game to make a bluff here. He must have the hand. He's just going to sort of play around a little bit, because if he is bluffing, he wants to at least put him through the sweat. But I don't think Luke's putting another penny in this pot. He's getting his chips ready as if he's going to, but I think it's a fold.
I'm like, sorry, I'm out of the loop, but have you been...
Wow, he's looking an amazingly amount like he's going on the re-raise. He has.
Wow. Well, that's...
Okay, I guess that was my question. I just didn't know how to phrase it.
He hasn't only re-raised, he's re-raised big. And
well, now this is actually quite tough. I mean, let's think, if you're Andrew and you're looking at this, how did the flop betting go? Okay, Luke bet out and Andrew called. Is that right?
That's right.
And then on the turn it went check, check. And on the river, Luke bet small, which he sometimes does when he wants to induce someone to go crazy. Andrew raised, and Luke now did the big raise. And that is how you'd play a jack. And I think Andrew's going to have to fold. Luke's really turned one from a winner into a loser, I think. And this is a really tough call for Andrew now. I think I'd probably fold it, given that pattern of betting. Although the history that these two have between them just makes such an added dynamic. Andrew's well aware how much Luke wants to have one over on him. And Andrew's now trying to engage Luke in conversation. I find normally with Andrew, when he starts doing this kind of thing, he's always folding. And normally, if he hasn't done anything within the first 45 seconds, he leans towards folding. But you can slightly tear up the Andrew Feldman rule book when it is Luke, because, as I say, there is this total needle between them. It's not put on, it's really genuine.
This is amazing. I mean, all Feldman had to do was call, and that's all what he's saying to himself right now. And it's really hard for him to get beyond that. All I had to do was call. It doesn't make sense.
Probably 5 days, 10 days. It's like by the time I go home and get back into it, it's like 2 weeks off, and then I have to start over.
Wow, I don't know.
I mean, actually, this is a mammoth pot, because
amazing.
I mean, it's not enormous amounts of money relative to the game, but we know the pain that both of these guys are going to suffer. If Andrew calls and Luke has to quietly push his cards into the muck, Luke is going to be absolutely kicking himself. He's going to be punching his head. But if Luke gets a bluff through, Andrew's going to be absolutely crestfallen, and Luke is going to be totally sticking the knife in and rubbing him down. And
you know, I don't think anybody wants to call the clock, but this may not get sorted until the clock is called. I'm sure they'll.
And luckily Robert's reminding us that he never ever calls the clock. I seem to remember he reminded us that 3 times in the last 2 times I played against him, and he called the clock every time. And Luke is, well, he's the crestfallen one. Andrew finally put the money in.
He did.
And
He
Luke,
did. He
Luke
put the money in.
Luke showed his hand. I think I would have kind of quietly mucked it, but
Oh, really?
anyway.
He was a very good river player.
And Andrew's complimenting Luke on a very good play, which I think it was a good play, actually. It was pretty adventurous and ambitious, but it was pretty good. And Luke is absolutely sick.
He certainly is.
That's the folder.
Lisa Marie's on the rail with a Swede waiting for a seat in the big game.
Okay, so I'm here with Perlind, who's been running quite well recently, actually. Last year, 3rd place in the WPT Paris, and this year, 2nd place in the EPT Copenhagen for $500,000. Run good much?
I've been running decently last year. It's been going quite well, so can't complain.
And do you see any actual big progressions with any differences you've made in your game?
No, not really. Mostly just putting more volume in, playing more tournaments, and just, you know, being able to get lucky. Didn't just play that many tournaments before, but now I've been playing most tournaments last year.
So you're fighting variance?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you've come down a bit early to scope the competition?
Yeah, I just come down and check things out and see what it's going to be like. I'm going to play in a few hours, so it's going to be cool.
Okay, well, look forward to seeing you on the table. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The game's definitely different now, and who's the potential for the big pot right now is obviously Luke and who. I mean, you would have
Well, Luke, you say that. Luke's down to $9 grand. I mean, there's big pots and there's big pots. I mean, it's not too shabby. You can live for a few weeks on $9 grand.
The old RW3 with the king-queen suited. And Jennifer's playing the interrogation card.
Yeah, giving Ben a right grilling. I mean, he wants to beat her at 2 pots. She wants to know full DNA sample information.
It's a great quality, especially, I mean, Tilly's been up for the game for 26 hours.
She's staying sharp like that. She wants to pump in for information. Unfortunately, she's probably going to do a bit of money here. And
it's going to be hard not to.
Yeah, Robert's got himself in a good spot here. A dominating queen, and then a queen comes on the flop just to make sure of it.
You obviously know what you're doing.
And Robert's a guy who...
Jennifer's picked up a gut shot now, so that might encourage her a little more. And she's leading again for 1,000. I think Robert must just call again, really, and hope for a bit of a blank on the river. He'll be hoping for a low black card or...
Well, so far,
you know, possibly a king. Well, that's probably not a terrible card for Robert. He's got to think, unless Jennifer had a straight already, and if she did, he's losing anyway. And, you know, she's checked to him now, so he pretty much knows he's winning. He should value bet here, really. I think 1,600 will be appropriate. He's gone for 1,000, and she might well call him off. Yeah, she's called. No idea. Actually, she called that one pretty quickly. If I was her, I might have looked at and had a bit of a think about what kind of hands was he going to quickly bet like that on the river. I think that looked a lot like a value bet to me. I might have folded that one if I was her. Maybe, you know, I am a notorious nit, but you know, she could only really beat big bluffs then. I don't see Robert Williamson doing a lot of range merging on the river there. He tends to be a, you know, top pair, top kicker man. Luke was looking around. I thought he was possibly having a ponder.
Oh, is he topped up?
Yeah, he's got 19 now in front of him.
Sure is fun to try.
Which gives him 2 sweats in one.
Raise to 250.
RW3 lighten things up.
Even a blind scroll find an acre.
Raise to 700. Fold.
Now Robert has spent a lot of time, you know, watching the hands from the position we are now, and because of that,
see if I have a blackjack hand. Oh, that's a tough
he thinks that
hand.
Luke may be at it, and Trickett seems to think the exact same thing.
Well, it definitely looked like a spot where Luke could be at it. And Roberts managed to expose his cards here. I think he didn't realise that Sam Trickett was in the pot, so Sam's got to be delighted there because he's going to see that 2 of his clubs have burnt. But
how strong is Luke's ace-queen right now?
if he hadn't have topped up, he could just go all in. Now he's topped up and he's got this 17,000. If you 4-bet and the other guy shoves, essentially you were just bluffing and you wanted him to fold. And there's not much point bluffing with ace-queen. That's a really good hand, you know.
It's a really good flop.
It's a really good flop. But he, yeah, he'd have been turning his hand into a bluff, which is a bad thing to do with your premiums in that situation. So he did exactly the right thing, just cool. And it's worked out because he's hit the flop. Obviously, the hand would have been a lot more interesting if neither player hit the flop, because then it comes down to gutsy poker, and that's always fun to watch. But now it'll be just a question of how Luke exploits this to the max. And he has to just call with the stack sizes. He's only got 15,000 left now.
And with such a strong hand,
in the
right?
pot.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't conceive that he's ever going to get beaten in this hand. He has to conceive that Sam Trickett just has nothing and keeps barreling. And there's some evidence to suggest that that's quite likely to happen. And if Sam bets, he could easily just set Luke in here. Luke's only got 12 left. There's 11 in the pot. You know, Luke showed a bit of weakness in the pot. He could just say, yeah, go on, stick it in. I think he might well do that, and he's going to double Luke up. I think that's going to happen. Especially now he's hit the king. 12. How much have you got? Yeah. You've only got just over a pot size.
Started the hand with like 19 or something.
I can't work how much you got there, like 9.
It's a weird spot for Trickett because all of a sudden, obviously, he's got the showdown value. And, I mean, how often does he actually just beat Schwartz outright?
About 12 or
4,000. I'll find out what
Well, that's why he's bet less, Jesse. He's bet 4,000 because that gives Luke a chance to do something stupid, to go crazy with, I don't know, Queen Jack or something like that, or Jack 10 of spades. Oh, well, that wouldn't be that crazy, but you know, to do something a little bit out of the left field. And Luke's decided, well, it's better to just call, because if I raise and he, you know, I'm folding out all his bluffs, and he's just going to snap call me with all the hands I don't want him to, so I might as well just call. I think Luke should bet for value now. When Sam checks the river like that, Luke must be winning, and I think he should bet for value. There's a bit of money out there.
Well, the only bet's all in. He's got 8.
Yeah, exactly. He's got 8,000. Well, that's 8,000 is 8,000. If he doesn't bet 8,000 now, he's leaving money lying around in the street, in my opinion. He must be winning here. Yeah, that's a good all-in. I love his all-in, and I don't think Sam's going to call.
He just said ace-queen. He just said you got ace-queen.
Yeah, well, Sam's not calling now, but
8, I think.
It was a great bet. I mean, a lot of people would have said, oh, you know, I've won enough in this pot.
It can't be
you know, I don't need to move all in here.
And he's called. He's called.
And that shows why it's a good bet. You can get a call. Sam's going to be a bit cross with himself because he basically told him his hand and then called anyway.
Every stage of the hand, isn't it, for you on that?
I almost checked behind the river because I thought you was just bluffing, but I can't be beat, innit?
There you go.
Jam.
I got one right.
Biggest winners in the big game, Tony G, 50K. He's left, but something tells me he might be back. Jennifer Tilley, what a sterling effort. She has played nearly a full day and still winning. The Wolfe in the game, Devilfish, Hit and Run, and Kohler, the qualifier, who took the win. Looking at the other end of the spectrum, Trickett has not been a great 22+ hours for him, but he's still fighting. Viffer wishes that he could still be here. Many of the qualifiers, 4 of them to be exact, been and gone with $8,000 deposits.
Join us next time at the Dusk Till Dawn Casino for more from the Party Poker Big Game 5.
I play so bad, it's just like embarrassing. It's having a nightmare.
No, you're thinking of some crafty shimmy shammy move, but let me tell you, I'm all over that flop.
Holy, how did she talk me down? Oh, jeez.
Tilly, you're killing it. You must be up 100 grand.
I can't help it. Let other people play good.
I'll hit the flop.
It's never easy.
Pretty sick.
Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug.
I'm going home, mate. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here.